really what it comes down to today as we teach this concept is we're going to walk through something that we're recently putting in place that we feel is going to be extremely beneficial for every coach and consultant, every entrepreneur, every person that's trying to build an online business in some way, shape, or form. And that is by creating. Well, welcome back to another Coaching with Content conversation. I'm Darren, and this is my good buddy, Dustin. Dustin, I was thinking today that you need a good nickname, like Dustin the Organized, or Dustin the Creator, although that's already taken. But what do you got? What Dustin the Hat? There it is. Dustin the Hat. I found it.
Sure. Yeah, man, do whatever you need to do. I don't have a great history with nicknames. Last name Peed growing up. So I just go with Hey You or anything like that works.
Well, it works. I thought I would throw it out there to see if we had some magical nickname that came for you today, but
sorry about you.
It falls a little flat with just the hat.
It does.
Dustin the Hat.
Dustin the Hat.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Anyway, we're here to talk about something completely different. If you are a coach or a consultant or an entrepreneur in any way, if you are trying to grow your business, one of the big things that you probably do each and every week, if not each and every day, is to try and book discovery calls. And that can be one of the most frustrating things because you either find those that will or find a formula or a funnel that works to get discovery calls, but then people don't show up, or they come and they're not really the client that you're looking for. And it just becomes more of a frustration than it is anything else. And so today we want to talk about how to use video to book more discovery calls without feeling salesy. Oh man, that's the big one, right, Dustin? Because nobody really wants to feel like they're selling somebody on something.
Nope. I don't like it. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I've had to shift in my mind, and again, I'm not perfect at this, but where I'm trying to get in my mind is it has to switch from selling, the selling mindset, to the providing value and providing a solution to those that I'm talking with, right? They have a problem and I have something that will help them get to the solution of that problem. And so it's not, I think when we say salesy, we think of those that are like, you know, the car salesman that gives you something that you really don't want, right? The classic used car salesman, right? Where it's like, oh, I don't really want that, but you're twisting my arm, you're making me not be able to say no. And that's what, nobody wants that.
Nope.
And so I think for us, we're going, how can we, book discovery calls, get people excited about what we're doing, but not feel like we're just trying to sell them on something or any of that. And I even struggle with that, right? With the discovery call piece, where I'm trying to talk with somebody and it feels like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, how can I get them to say yes? Instead of how can I provide the value? And Dustin, there's an analogy that I've heard and that I've really tried to take into every conversation that I have, whether it's a discovery call or somebody that I'm talking with just at, in my life, is to treat it like a doctor would when you come in for a doctor visit. When you come in to see a doctor, you say, oh, I have this stomach pain and I need this medicine. Can you give it to me? And the doctor's going to go, well, let me check a few things first before I give you what you need, right? I think we're going to have to ask a few more questions. We're going to have to understand what's happening. We're going to, you got to diagnose. You got to ask what you're eating. We got to ask what's going on in your life. Is there stressors? Are there things that happen? And all of those questions that allows the doctor then to make the best prescription for whatever's happening. And I think for us on these discovery calls, and when we're booking these discovery calls, it's all about what's the word that you just used that I totally just lost in my brain? Diagnose, that's the word. It's all about diagnosing the problem and not just selling the thing. And if you can make that shift, I think there's a complete there's a change in the air. There's a change in your attitude. There's a change on the phone call itself, right? That you can have a good conversation with somebody and lead them to maybe your offer, maybe your solution, but also maybe point them in the right direction and really help them get to where they need to be. And I think if for us coaches and consultants and entrepreneurs out there, if we can keep that mindset, that will serve us well when it comes to the discovery calls. So, but let's talk about how to use video really to book more to book more discovery calls, because we've talked about it being sleazy and that we're not wanting to sell. But why does this matter? Because content without conversation is a big waste, right?
Mm,
I mean, we spend a lot of time creating videos, creating content, creating marketing messages, creating all that stuff. But if it doesn't turn into a conversation, it's just a big waste of time.
right.
And I think as we look across the landscape, and I know I've fallen victim to this, Dustin, I'm sure you have too, where you just create the content to create the content. And it's kind
Right.
of just throw it up and see what happens, and throw it up and hope and pray and cross our fingers. And though that can work for an extended time of like testing or trying things, it's not a long term play. And I think we have to get better and we have to get stronger at saying, okay, we're not just going to create the content and throw it up there. We're going to create it with a purpose and with a bullseye of having a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And so when it comes to that well, I guess that's why it's important, right? That's why these the video content is even done in the first place. But Dustin, what has your experience been? I know you've been in business for a little while, um, putting out some great content. You've been doing podcasting forever. You've starting to grow that Instagram up a little bit. I'm seeing some creative things, trying some stuff. You're doing that, but there is a purpose behind some of that. So what's your experience with the last few weeks and months as trying some of this new stuff? What have you seen that's maybe working? What have you seen that's maybe like I'm still testing?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. At the end of the day, I think we're all just throwing stuff up against the wall and seeing what sticks, and what sticks we repeat, and what doesn't stick we don't repeat. But
True,
I
true.
think I think I think that a couple things. Number one, to get a little bit closer to our conversation today, is what I'm really trying to do ultimately is to build authority with my target audience.
Yeah,
Now, my target audience is creative professionals like Darren. Darren's one of my clients. And so I think often that coaches and consultants think that, well, what do I have to do to reach my target audience? And I think the thing that we miss often here is that more than likely, whether it's pro bono or not, you have coaching and consulting clients already. And if
yeah.
those are the types of clients that you want, then why not ask them
Mm,
like what hits?
mhm.
There's not probably 24 to 48 hours that goes by during the week without me asking Darren or any other of my clients, "Hey, I'm thinking about releasing this. What do
Yeah,
you think?"
yeah,
Or when they message me on our Slack platform and they have a pain point that they're experiencing, a flag goes up like, "Oh, that's a pain point for them."
yeah,
Or what I thought was like a lot of times coaches and consultants, the stuff is obvious to us, but it's not obvious to everybody else.
yeah,
No matter what it is that
sure.
you're coaching and consulting about, could be finances, could be operations, could be marketing, whatever. Like you think the stuff that you think is obvious is the stuff where other people are like, "Wow, I never thought about it that way before." Um,
Mind blown.
right.
You've
And
done that to me
so
a couple of times in our time
yeah,
together.
so when you're on a coaching call or consulting session and you see somebody light up, or you see somebody go, "I got to write that down,"
Mhm.
you're onto something because you've hit a pain point. And yeah, it might just be the pain point of that one particular client, but why not take that pain point and go, okay, well, now I'm going to talk. Like most of my episodes for my podcast and most of my stuff, like in my content, kind of comes out of my podcast, right? That's what we talk about here, is coaching with
Right,
content.
right.
Like I mean, I would imagine 90% of it over the last few months has been birthed out of conversations and sessions that I've had with Darren or other clients. It's me going like, oh, that's what you're dealing with. Great. Like today, like at the time of this recording, we're ending Q1, beginning Q2.
Mm-hmm.
And literally it didn't plan it this way. It just happened because I was looking at the calendar ahead of time and looking at my content coming up, and I'm going like, okay, well, how do creatives wrap up Q1 successfully and launch themselves into Q2? And I
Yeah.
was already working on my notes for the episode when Darren reached out and said, hey man, how do you wrap up Q1 and prepare for Q2? And I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I'm
I'll be
going,
listening to that episode is what you're saying. So
yeah, I'm just saying, like, if Darren listens to my episodes, he's got to be going, like, yeah, that's a conversation that we had recently,
yeah. Yeah.
because that's where I'm finding it. It's not, yes, I'm throwing it out there, and my social media coordinator is trying some different hashtags and some different strategies for
Sure.
posting at different times of the
Sure.
day and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's the message, and I just want to
Yeah.
offer that value, and the way that we, to get back to our conversation today, the way that we build authority is by offering value.
Yeah. And that's the purpose today as we're talking about. I love that you brought that up. As we're talking about booking discovery calls, using content to book discovery calls, it really all stems and starts with you're building up your authority with those that are in your ecosystem, right? Like you're saying, when you and I are having conversations, whether you and I have literal conversations, whether on the phone or via text, but like even your conversations with those in your social media networks or on your email list, as you're asking those questions, the goal is to set yourself up as that authority
Right.
in whatever it is that you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Like that's what I love what you said, Dustin, where sometimes we don't even know that we understand things a lot better than most people, right? And
Right.
and so when I talk to you about Asana or putting up SOPs together or just getting organized and making things happen, like it's what you naturally do, but to me that's not a natural thing, and so you've helped
Right.
me understand that. So when you can begin to utilize your content to build up your authority. I think everybody knows this. This isn't rocket science. This isn't big, dropping, truth bombs on you here. This is you're growing your authority by teaching. When you teach somebody something, they're like they can respect you, and they come back for more. They go, man, that was really cool. I'm going to keep listening. I'm going to keep leaning in.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what it comes down to today, as we teach this concept, is we're going to walk through something that we're recently putting in place that we feel is going to be extremely beneficial for every coach and consultant, every entrepreneur, every person that's trying to build an online business in some way, shape, or form. And that is by creating the authority video. Um, I wish I like the term authority video. I should have like this cool epic name that just like drops in, but authority video is pretty strong too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but an authority video, I think every coach and consultant needs to consider putting together, because I think this is going to be the number one tool that you can use to book those discovery calls. And to look at it, an authority video in its basic, simplistic way is you teaching a concept, taking what Dustin was just talking about, a pain point that your potential clients or ideal clients would be experiencing, and you say, okay, here is the pain point. I'm going to teach you a way to solve that pain point, and then I'm going to, at the end of that, call you to action to jump on a call with me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what this might look like is stepping into it is you sit down and you create a teaching, a coaching, maybe you take one of your frameworks, again, one of those pain points, and you say, okay, I'm going to do a 12 to 20-minute video. I know that sounds crazy, but think of it like you might see like a webinar style piece, right? Without the people actually there with you live, but you create a very strong, very put together, uh, teaching on this pain point that solves their problem. Like at the end of the video, they could walk away, they could solve their problem, no big deal, they could leave. But
Right.
in the process of you teaching, you walking them through, maybe you're giving them a little history of who you are and what you do and why you're doing it, but you're walking them through this problem that they have. You show them that you understand them, you empathize with them, and then you help solve that problem. And then at the end you say, hey, if you want some more of this, if you're going, man, what do I do now? I'd love for you to jump on a call with me and my team. The links are all below, and you can literally start driving traffic to this video, this landing page video, that then is a direct call to action to jump on a call with you.
Yeah.
And so this is the basic idea, the basic framework of this authority video, which we'll walk through how to put the authority video together here in a minute. But as far as the flow or the funnel of what you're looking at right now, as you're looking at creating this 12 to 20-minute teaching, you put it on a landing page with some copy, some strong copy, telling them that you can solve that pain point, that pain issue that they have. And then the direct call to action is to book a call with you. You can even put the Calendly calendar right there if you want to be crazy like that, So make it super easy for them. And then over time, as you're creating your social media content or your podcast or your YouTube videos or your whatever that looks like, you can then just simply point to that is basically as a lead magnet, right? And you point to that in that direction. And I guarantee if you do this well and your copy is strong and your teaching is good and you help genuinely solve a pain point for your clients, the bookings will begin to happen and you will begin to see those fill up. And now all of a sudden your videos are driving traffic to your discovery call forums and getting that booked up. Dustin, how does that sit with you? What do you think about that? What's rolling around in your brain?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you're saying is true, and it hits the heart of us coaches and consultants to be able to provide value. I mean, no, we talked at the beginning about not being salesy, right?
Yeah.
I think the best way to not be salesy is to provide value.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was before the episode started, or while we were already kind of in the intro section of it, you kind of equated it to like a used car salesman, right? Like you don't want to feel
Yeah.
sold. But
Yeah.
if that used car salesman can provide value for you, then you're more likely to buy from him, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to the used car salesman and he says, look, I understand this might be a little bit over your budget, but I'm going to put all 4 fresh new tires on it and I'm going to fill up the car with gas. And you're just like, well, that's some value,
Yeah.
right? I'm more likely to buy.
Yeah.
Um, I just think we get in this mindset often of we have to sell, 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 but I think the sales will come when we consistently provide
Yep.
value, and I think
Yep.
that's what the authority video helps us do. It
Yes.
just like in previous episodes where we've talked about that content library is a
Yep.
visual representation of your authority, and it's something that you need. But also, this authority video gives you an opportunity to do it in a small, like easy to consume
Yep.
format for
Yep.
people who are wondering, well, what is the authority
Yep.
here? Hey,
Yep.
I'm Dustin P with over 20 years of experience. Yada, yada, yada. They go, bam,
Yep.
and 2 sentences,
Yep.
and some
Yep.
B roll, like, boom, authority built.
Yes. Yes. And when it comes to the authority video, I think the big piece, and I want to walk through a basic step-by-step framework that you could put together. And if you follow this, you will have a very strong authority video. And in doing so, you can get it up on that landing page, start driving traffic to it, whether it's organic or paid, right? And you will start getting those discovery calls. And so the basic breakdown here is in there's a like a 5-step, if you will, to this. I don't love 5 steps. I wish it was 3, but we got to make this thing work,
Right.
But the first thing is you need to describe the pain that your person is experiencing, right?
Mm.
You need to describe the day-to-day experiences, the problems. You need to paint the picture where literally in the first few minutes of the video, they go, that is me, right?
Yeah.
Like just, holy cow, this person knows exactly, like they're looking around in their house going, have they been watching what I've been doing?
Yeah.
Because this
Can I
is
can I give you an
my
example of
problem.
that real quick?
Yes, please do.
Perfect. So, talking about this podcast episode that I'm about to record about Q1 review and Q2 strategy, the
Yeah.
first sentence I'm going to say from the jump in the cold open before any music or tagline or anything is this: Hey, if your creative business feels like it's running you instead of you running it, you're about to discover the quarterly planning system that will change everything. In this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how to transform your Q1 insights into a strategic Q2 action plan that will bring clarity to chaos and purpose to your creative work. Boom, done.
I'm ready to listen, dude.
Exactly.
I'm ready to
So,
listen. And to your point earlier, that it was a conversation that you and I were having.
mhm,
Let's just say that we didn't have that, but I was having that conversation in my mind, and I
mhm,
come across your episode, and you say that exactly in the first however long.
yeah,
I am like, I will continue to listen to this
continue.
because
Yep.
I am feeling like this business is running me and not the other way around, right?
Mhm,
And so that is a beautiful example of what we're saying here. And now that's for a podcast episode. In this video, you can make it longer. You can really kind of bring it, really paint that picture that you understand and know what they're experiencing and feeling. So that first part is to describe the
yep.
problem. And then you're going to move into reframing the problem being a symptom of a deeper issue, right?
Mm,
There's
mm,
something deeper going on. And I think you hit on it, Dustin, with your intro there, where like I'm over here going, I'm stressed out. I just need to like delegate some stuff or get some things off my plate, or I need to hire a new person or whatever that looks like that I'm thinking. And you're saying, hey, if your business is running you, I actually have something that I think will help that's a little bit deeper underneath the the generic kind of surface level problems that you think might be going on. There's
yep.
something deeper there. And if you can bridge this gap, well, hey, are you experiencing this? Yeah, I get it. I understand. Here's what's really going on. And now you go, oh, it kind of hits them on that emotional level, right? It just hits them right there where they're going, man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know that. And now again, you haven't only said, I understand where you're at, but let me tell you, I really understand where you're at because I know what's going on underneath the surface.
Yep.
And now they're all in listening at that point, right?
Right.
So that's the first two steps. So you describe, then you reframe. There's another re word, reframe from
Mm,
a couple episodes ago. Repurpose. Is that how I was
repurpose.
saying it?
You were saying repurpose.
Anyway, yeah, just go back and listen to that one. You'll laugh hysterically. And then you're going to explain how they tried to fix it and why it's not working, right? So, Dustin, in your episode, I'm sure there's a part where you're going to say, hey, you probably tried this. You probably tried to set your goals at the beginning of the year and let them run all the way through and like all that stuff. But here, let's look at this differently. And you start to show them, and again, speak directly to all those things that they probably tried. And
Right.
again, they're looking over their shoulder going, how does this guy know exactly what I've done and how I've tried to put this together? And again, just driving in the fact that you know what you're talking about, you're that authority, right, in this space, and I'm going to help you, right? So you have the describe, the reframe. Now I'm in my
Reframe.
head about rewords,
Mhm.
reframe, and then explain, and then you're going to show them. That's the fourth step. You're going to show them how to do this, right? And I think Dustin, you're doing this in your podcast episode already, but think of this in a very detailed, like 15 to 20-minute video where you're breaking this down and you are giving these examples. Maybe you have some slides on the screen that shows some different stuff that you're walking them through, and now you're going to teach them how to solve that problem. So you spent the first three steps just really showing them not only do you know what you're talking about, but you understand where they're at. Maybe you've been there before in your own life. Maybe you've gotten out. You said 20 years been doing this kind of thing. Now you're like, oh, I can help you. I know the path out of here. Let me teach you that path. And so you spend the next part of this teaching and really showing them how to fix that problem, right? So now you can see in those four steps of describe, reframe, explain, and then show. Once you've showed them, they could walk away at this point and be great. This is where the rubber meets the road, and now you're going to invite them. You're going to invite them in to, hey, if you want this done for you or with you or whatever your product or service helps them with, if you want help, I would love for my team and myself to work with you. The discovery call, right? Call to action to the discovery call at that part. If it's on a landing page, it's right below the video. They know exactly where to go. They're not going anywhere else. They're not having to leave Instagram to go over to YouTube, to go over here. They're right there. And now you can invite them in and say, let's jump on a call. Let's figure this out. And your language can be all kinds of things there, whether it's like you're providing something for them on the call. Hey, we're going to do an audit, or we're going to do a deep dive, or we're going to do a, I'll give you a step-by-step on how to get out of that problem on the call, whatever that looks like. But that is where everything is going to change for you. So if you can create this authority video and have a strong call at the end to book that discovery call, and then you're driving traffic through every email list that you have, every social media account that you have, any ad work that you're doing, you're driving that to the authority video. And I guarantee you that you will start to see discovery calls start rolling in, maybe even more than you can handle. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be great.
So yeah, from that, the authority video, describe, reframe, reframe. Man, I'm totally,
Reframe.
I'm in my head. Describe, reframe, explain, show, and invite. That is the step-by-step process to get there.
Yeah.
Dustin, thoughts, feelings, actions. What are you hearing when you hear that?
Yeah, I think people or coaches and consultants are going to hear that and think that they have to get it perfect. Two things I would say. Number one, hire Darren to help you with that in 1898 Creative. Number two, like, the first draft of anything is not necessarily the best draft, but it exists, right? So I would just say to create it, and then once it's out there, you can look at it for what it is, chop it up, figure out the parts that you might need to fix, and then move on from there. Just don't delay the creating, and then try not to over edit.
Yeah.
Moving forward,
Yeah.
keep it simple, keep it, right in your wheelhouse. Don't try to be someone that you're not. Keep it authentic. And I really think you could keep it short too. I don't think these need to be terribly long. We haven't talked about length of these already, have we?
I just said normally I'm seeing them between 12 and 20 minutes, right? That's kind of a if you're going to walk through these 5 steps, you're probably going to naturally be longer.
Sure.
You don't if it ends up being 10 minutes, you don't have to try to make it 20, right?
No.
Like the goal is not the length as much as it is the content in it. And if you're teaching me something and walking me through that pain point,
right.
I don't care if it's 7 minutes, right? Like hit me with it. And if you're helping me, then you call me to action and I'm going, man, I want to implement all this stuff, but where do we even start? How do I do this? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I got to jump on a call with these folks, right? Like that's the emotional response you want to get from this process.
Yeah. And I know video makes a lot of people nervous that aren't surrounded by it all the time like we are.
Right.
That I would just remind you that's the beauty of editing. And a few different takes of saying the same thing 4 or 5 different times really helps that editing process to be able to piece it together appropriately. So don't feel like you have to nail it.
Let me give some practical tips here at the end, or a practical tip. If you are somebody that's not, like Dustin said, you're not around video a lot and you're like, man, I want to do this, but I'm freaking out. I don't know how to do this. A simple way around this is to just create a slide deck that you would maybe in Canva or in PowerPoint or wherever you're comfortable with doing that. Put together, your slides that walk through these 5 steps, right? Maybe 2 or 3 slides a piece, keep it simple, keep it eye-catching, all that kind of stuff. You put together your presentation and then use a software like Loom that you can literally just screen record. So go in presentation mode And I would even say, if you're a little nervous about being on camera, you're like, I don't have a great setup, it doesn't look all like what we got here, just shut the camera off, right? Shut the camera off and just teach, walking them through those slides. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated with all this fancy stuff and all the things. If you simply just teach, camera off, walking
Mhm.
them through the slides. I've seen authority videos that I've literally invested money at the end of those things because I'm like, that helped me so much. I want what you're offering.
Mhm.
So to Dustin, your point, like, don't overcomplicate it. Now, seeing your face, seeing you smile, seeing you look at the camera, that goes a long way too.
Yep.
So I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to go on the other side of fear and put the camera on and make it happen. But I'm saying, like, if you're going, hey, step one is I'm just turning this thing on and walking through a slide deck, that's a strong option as well.
Mhm.
And so that's a practical tip that I would say. So if you got Loom and you got Canva, you have everything that you need to make this authority video happen. So you can't use excuses like I don't have the gear that it takes to make this happen, because it's
Right.
super simple on that front. And so that'll be a great way of starting. Dustin, as we wrap up, any final thoughts, any other things that come to mind with the authority video and getting discovery calls from it?
Yeah. Only thing, additional thought I would say is this is an exciting time for you as a coaching consultant to refine your, to use a industry term, your unique value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what the authority builder is all about. The authority video is all about being able to clearly convey your unique value,
Yeah,
and proposition that to potential clients. And so I wouldn't look at it as daunting. I would look at it as an exciting way to trim down your expertise in a attractive way.
for sure, for sure. And I love that, because it's a great time to build authority. I mean, with the I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. With everybody kind of being a little bit tired of the overly edited, overly put together videos, like they're longing for real conversation, real, like, I can see you and hear you and learn from you in this way. You create content that way and just start, like, it's going to be a game changer. We say around here that content changes lives,
Yep.
and that's what it's all about. And so don't worry about the numbers, don't worry about all the things. Create the content and watch the authority grow, and put together the authority video, send it out there, and watch the discovery calls happen as well. And so
Mhm.
it's what you got to do. What you
Yep.
got to do. So, thanks for joining us for another episode of Coaching with Content. We're greatly appreciative that you're here. And man, just go out there and start making moves, making it happen, putting content together, because your content is more than just a thing that you have to do. It's a way that you can coach those that you want to reach. So,
Mhm.
go out there and create that content, and go out there and create your art. We'll see you next week.